Thank you for on. I swear I have tried 5 times to get the stream going, and for whatever reason nothing wants to connect, including the YouTube app. So part of my frustration, but it's one of these things, you know, like it worked yesterday, it worked the day before, it worked the day before that, so I couldn't hook into the scheduled stream, but we're here. So I typically can't do this on Fridays right now. I will try to figure out a way if it's at all possible. Otherwise, we're expecting to be here 6 days a week. So thank you for coming in. This is gonna work actually. Yeah. Copy. So thank you for hanging out. Pardon me while I give you a horrible look there. Trying to send the link back to the old stream for what we're doing right now. This has been a disaster. So I'll give you a long story. Thank you everybody for coming in though. I'm going to try to get into the stream. So the way that I do this, I've got an iPhone 12 mini that's sitting on the treadmill, and then I've got the other phone on me to read the chat. So Tony, thank you for coming back in. The Stock Explorer, thanks for being here. Scratch and PPA, good to see you. So I was expecting to be at home, but I got to get the treadmill put back. It goes where the Christmas tree was. So I'll have to do that hopefully later today and be set up for tomorrow. In the meantime, I have a membership at another gym, right? So I called them, wanted to go there, and I've got my nephew with me, so I just wanted a day pass. It's been a long time since I've done anything like that, so I thought it was like $5. And so I get to what I thought was the gym I was supposed to be going to. It says so on Apple Maps. It turns out it's another gym when I got there. So I was like, okay, I got to get this thing going. So let me get a day pass at this other gym. So it was going to be $20 a person just for the day pass. So then I call the gym that I'm a member of and I say, okay, I'll just drive to the next city and go there, right? So I call them, what's it cost for a day pass? They're like $30, but I have a membership, so it's $30 still for the other person coming with me. They go, all we got to do is get them to sign a couple of contracts and stuff, and we'll let them come for free. I go, nobody's signing any contracts, because that's the worst. The gym that I'm a member of takes the money right out of your bank account, and I think it was a 1-year contract when I started, right? So imagine if somebody, for instance, didn't have the money in their account on the day it was going to come out. They will likely continuously hammer your account, overdraft you repeatedly. I'm lucky not to be in that situation, but you could imagine how it would be, right? Nobody signing anything. So anyway, called another gym that is in closer to where I live, and they actually did us a favor. So they, I don't know how much I want to say, because I don't want anybody to get in trouble for what they've done, but they did us an extra favor. So it worked out a lot less than I expected that it should be, but we ended up getting our day pass, and you know, just name phone number and you're done. But when we wanted to get the day pass at the first place, they wanted $20 a person for $40 for us to walk on a treadmill for an hour, which is fine. It's not their fault for what I want to do or not do. But they want birthday, email, confirmation. That's not happening. And the gate in this place is set up like I haven't seen a bank that secure. It's something else. It's like what you see in the movies. They've got these turnstiles You cannot get in there if you don't have the right thing. It's something else. Anyway, thank you everybody for coming in. Pardon me for being behind in the chat like I always am, but Scratch and PPA, Wolf Spirit Productions, Tony, thank you for being here every day for this. I really do appreciate that. Don Ray B, good to see you here. She stole my thunder as a fellow Canadian. Yeah, that's that is no joke, Don Ray B. I'm kind of amazed. We know that, like, you know, inflation is kicking up all over the world. Everybody's just gouging everybody for everything. But some of the stuff I think is just a bit much. But it gives us a story to tell for today. Yeah, you can't cancel. Canceling a gym membership these days is one of the most difficult things, I think. It's like trying to cancel your cell phone or try to get the insurance payments taken off your credit card. I called my one of my credit card companies, I don't know, a month or two ago, and I said, I got this like $13 charge every month coming through for, what is it? If you are unable to pay for a legitimate reason, like let's say you get hurt, can't work, something like that, your payments are made for you, the minimum payments. I'm like, that's ridiculous. The card's only for a few grand. I'll give you the few grand. If I fall off a ladder, I'll just pay you. And I don't need this insurance, right? Oh, sir, nope. The way I understand it, you want to cancel your card. I'm like, oh, come on, man. Give me a break. Now, I don't know the truth about whether you have to have it or not. Fine, there goes $13 a month down the drain for, you know, the rest of eternity, I guess. The cost of having it. I asked Kristen a couple of weeks ago, I said, do I complain about everything? And she kindly answered in a way that let me know I might actually. I hope not. Because you're seeing a lot more of me in my natural habitat here than I would be presenting on my other channel or anything like that. But this comes down to, if anybody was ever to wonder, why does Kevin do the things he does? Why does he talk the way he does? Why is he, you know, insist he believes on the things he says he believes in and stuff like that? This is all part of it. Why do you have to tell people in 2022 how they should be running their companies? We choose a gym based on who we hate the least. We choose our political candidates based on who we hate the least or distrust the least. We choose our cell phone companies based on who we hate the least. That's ridiculous, in my opinion. Bearded Eagle, good to see you here. Thanks for coming in. Yes, Wolf Spirit Productions. I swear to you, I have to remind myself that I am not going to snap online ever, no matter whatever happens. A couple of you have seen me lose my patience to a small degree, but the idea of like throwing furniture and screaming and all that stuff hasn't happened yet. I do have a backup plan if I ever lose it. Then I'll just start a channel that's just me snapping constantly over everything. And everybody control me all they want then. Sam, good to see you here. Thanks for coming in. Semper, good to see you in the house. No, I'm just on a treadmill for today. It is yet. It is, because you don't know. You know what I mean? I would like to think that for the most part, I'm, you know, honest all the time. You see, I say the things that I truly believe. I try never to lie. You know, if somebody gives me a sweater that I don't like, of course I'm going to tell them I like it. I'm going to wear it anyway. But with the exception of things like that, you know, I try to always be 100% honest and stuff like that where possible. But that means that, you know, someday when somebody drives me completely bonkers, It won't be somebody. It might be an internet connection. I promise you, I tried to start the stream 5 times right now, and nothing would connect. I don't know why. The YouTube app wouldn't connect. The Prism Streamlabs on both phones. So I had to start over. Whatever. Maybe I won't schedule these. I don't know. Hilda DC, good to see you here. Thank you for coming in. Yeah. Not so much yelling and screaming, but let's say just snapping and just like telling it like it is, right? Because you can't. I can't talk about vaccines and COVID, my opinion and stuff like that. Not if we want to be here. So it's funny because you get trolls that will come into different channels and they'll snap. I had somebody leave a comment on one of my videos the other day. It was so negative that YouTube held it for review, so I didn't have to delete it, right? Anyway, they're way to go and do something that's completely leftist. You lie about who you are and everything else, because this is somebody who came in from the Freedom Convoy stuff last year. Like, dude, you are really out there, man. If in the world of, what is it, 7 billion people now, you think that leaving a comment on a video that's barely getting a couple hundred views on a channel with a few thousand subscribers on YouTube is fighting a war, I don't know what to tell you. You know, and that's the kind of things I imagine myself talking about. But I hope we never get there. If I can hold it together, we'll be fine. Yeah, StreamYard panel. It is, Bearded Eagle, but we all see what happens on channels like that too. It literally becomes a war zone with preteen politics. This person said this about this person, that person said that about that person, this person didn't put the, certain flag on their Facebook profile, so they hate everybody that ever ate a meat pie in their life. It literally gets that stupid. I see too many channels with grown adults where there are boycotts between groups of people. Silliness. I got long speeches for all this stuff. Thank God we're expecting to do this every day. You guys are going to hear a lot of opinion on these streams for sure. By the way, I meant to start something. So I'm wearing a t-shirt right now from Corinne's Life. She's a dear friend, and I don't think she's in here right now, but she's a moderator on the other channel and here. She's been a dear friend for a long time, but she prints a lot of stuff. So my intention is to wear all these different t-shirts that I've been given over a long period of time. There's not that many, but Corinne's Life prints t-shirts and everything like that. The mugs that some of you have seen, and Christmas ornaments and hats, and she's doing all kinds of stuff. She's busy all the time, but she's somebody who can print custom things if you want them. So I just wanted to commend her to you if you haven't already met her. Grown adults on YouTube, yeah, Wolf Spirit Productions. It's too bad because it's like everything else in the world, right? Where the extreme few ruin it for everybody else, And it's like school type of politics, Some kid can't stop whining and nagging about something that they don't like. And my favorite is people who come into a channel. And I'm talking about channels with less than 100,000 subscribers, right? But come into a channel and say, oh, I've done a lot of research on this guy. Okay, I don't know what to tell you if you got nothing to do in your life, but research some YouTuber, and I don't know what you mean by research. I think that's an incredibly disrespectful term to people who spend a lifetime actually doing research. So there's some opinion for you. So the other thing too, now while I sit here and I say this from one side, there are lots of channels I won't go in. There are lots of people I won't, let's say, go anywhere near online because I know what that group is like. You'll notice how tight I keep the other channel. This is much different over here, right? If a troll comes in, we'll just time them out, ban them. They can give me death threats and everything else, right? But on the other channel, you know, I keep that away because I don't want that stuff infecting other channels. It's something to think about because they do. You know, trolls are just after attention at the end of the day, and they will get it from wherever they can. So if somebody pays attention, they'll run over to their channel and start with them, and we don't wish that. We've seen it a million times. That's true, Tony, and we don't have tone of voice to go along with this. It's the same as email, same as text. You know, the tone of voice, the look on a person's face, the instinct to be able to know what perspective they're coming from is not there. Purple Tube, good to see you here. Thank you for coming in. Hopefully I haven't missed anybody in the chat. Kaz's Crafts and More, good to see you here. Thank you for coming in. Yeah, research Sam's Lux Trains and More. Like, if now this has not happened yet, but if somebody was to come in here and say, oh, Kevin Kaye's a scam artist, that's happened before. But if somebody was to come in and say like, oh, I've done a lot of research on this Kevin Kaye guy, and he's a scammer, he does this and he does that, like, we see that garbage everywhere. And the lucky thing for myself personally, I would never recommend for anybody to put anything online when it comes to personal information and stuff that you're not comfortable with. Back in 1990 whatever, we couldn't necessarily see the future, but my whole life is online. I was so excited to be on CompuServe and AOL and MySpace and things like that. So my whole history is there. Anybody can do all the research they want. You can beg for things not to be true, but they're there. There's evidence of everything. So that means I can't hide. You know what I mean? If I make claims, let's just say, right, online, I've done this, I've done that, I believe this, I believe that, there's a 30-year track history or track record or longer to follow up on. Now, if somebody took the time to do that, I would think that that is a waste of time. But that's just my opinion, not to say I'm right. Well, you'll notice as well, if I'm in a channel and a troll comes in, I'm quiet. And that's because, you know, I'm usually using my other channel to come in to support everybody, and I don't want the infection to continue, right? Really hard to get rid of. What I do find, though, as a idea for anybody that's experienced trolling, because if you haven't yet, I promise one day it will come, is that the most hardcore trolling usually subsides after 2 weeks. That can feel like an eternity when it's going on, and I promise you, I've got it as hard as anybody. But eventually it subsides. And then forever after, like for instance, you know, I talk about this too much, but if somebody was to come and, you know, oh, Kevin, I don't like what you said, I'm gonna, you know, let me come and find you and I'm gonna teach you a lesson and this and that. It's not my first death threat. It doesn't bother me. You know, I'm not gonna lose a wink of sleep, right? Rich Cat Ranch, good to see you in the house. Thank you for coming in. So forgive me, because I don't want to talk only about negative things. That wasn't the intention. Had the story to tell when I first got here about the disaster it took to get this stream going. You'll see what I mean by the fact, like even here, first of all, I had to push the stream. I'm trying to flip the camera. I can't flip it. Anyway, you can see I've been on for almost half an hour already. The phone wants to overheat again. I don't know if I can do anything about that. First Floor Audio, good to see you here. Thanks for coming in. John H. Shelton, my dear friend. And, you know, most of you know each other already. If anybody doesn't, I think every single person here is in the Tuber Chat family. So feel free to connect with each other if you want. I can't remember for the life of me if I set up the link thing here. Let's give it a try. I wasn't going to do it on this channel because I don't want to encourage it versus Tuber Chat. Yeah, it is. So you can do that if you want to here. I really don't think that dropping links in that way helps as much as we think it does. However, I've been told by many people over the last 2.5 years that it is better than I think it is. So that's fine, but I'll leave it up to everybody. If you want to drop your link, that's fine. People can get to you faster. If you want to do somebody a favor, it's much better for them if you search their name, find them and click on them. But everybody's free to meet each other. Happy New Year, by the way, everybody. I keep forgetting, I swear, like the days blend into each other. I know it's New Year's Eve, but I'm not thinking about it. You know, we have our own family stuff planned, and we're just literally going to be sitting around having family time. That's all I ever want, right? I used to joke with my friends and stuff because I worked in nightclubs and bars and stuff, but that would also mean that I'd be out at nightclubs and bars all the time. So if I'm out, I'm not there to dance. I'm not there to like really party and this and that. I usually find my spot, and this is a long time ago because I don't go out as much anymore, but I find my spot, I basically perch, and I just want to stand around and talk to my friends for hours. You all know I can talk endlessly, but oh yeah, one of the things I didn't understand, a mistake that I made. There's one live stream I still have to this day from Niagara Falls, and you can see the frustration in me right at the beginning because I start to stream, I can't get it out of portrait mode, and I'm like, oh no. And that's typical. Kristen has to listen to me do that every time something doesn't work. And it's because there's the setting. I'll show it to you right here. This on the iPhone, it's this button over here. Forgive me because I'm walking, but it's the one that keeps it. So I used to keep my phone locked in portrait mode all the time, and that caused a problem when it's time to go live. So I learned to just use my phone and leave that off so I never forget. Yeah, so Wolfspear Productions, the doctor said to me, I don't know, 6 months ago or whatever, you got to walk, because I'm obviously like a bit overweight, more than a bit, but let's just say I'm overweight. But I got to do something, right? For most of you, I'm older than you think I am, and you know, it's got to start eventually. So I'm just here to walk. I'm not here to pump the treadmill up. I'm not like trying to show off or accomplish anything, because it can't be done in a day anyway. So if we keep this up, then the idea will be that, let's say 3 weeks from now, I'll be walking 3.5, 4 kilometers an hour, and eventually maybe I'll get into some working out and stuff like that. I won't stream working out. That's not going to be appropriate right now. I think that's better served with people who've been doing it a long time. But that's just an idea. But thank you everybody for hanging out. I'm just happy that we made it for day 4, and you all, like, by being here, make it that much more motivating. So I woke up this morning and our treadmill needs to be set up, and it was raining. So of course I look out the window and I'm like, oh, should I do it later? I was gonna get up and go outside actually because it's warm here, except for the rain, so I can't stream outdoors. But right away it starts in the mind, right? I'll do it later. And I know that if I push it to later, I might have an excuse to not do it at all. So I said, no, I'm getting up. And then this bit with driving from gym to gym and fighting over day passes and costs and stuff like that, I said, okay, this is between me and God now. I am going to get this done some way, and I don't care what it costs. I need it done, because I don't want to hear it right away. Where were you on Saturday? You know, and that's motivation enough. Not to mention being able to hang out, because you guys make the hour fly by. And then pardon me while I'm grabbing the phone here. The iPhone 12 mini wants to overheat. It is like really warm in this place. It's not like I think I'm used to the gym keeping the temperature like a degree or two too cold to accommodate. And I don't think that's the case here. I'm trying to find something I can jam in between, in behind the phone. I don't know if this is going to work, pardon me. You got to give a little bit of space all the way around the phone so that it can breathe almost, right? But thanks everybody for hanging out. Thanks for the shares. You see that the stream was supposed to connect. It didn't, so I had to start a new one. But that's not the end of the world. That's fine. I'll fix it all later. It seems that, Tony. It certainly does seem that. I just... thank you, Sam. What I try to do is decipher from the things that are sent, because I got a few people sending me things, whatever, and you know, I mostly get right-wing extremist stuff, but I get a tiny bit of both. But my thing is to always question everything that I see, right? It's very easy to get sucked into it. And I'll tell you what happens. You know who does a really good job of getting their algorithm right? And I never realized it for all these years, but Twitter. Because what happens is every single time that I'm scheduling the Tuber Chat tweets, because I always schedule the social media posts in advance, 99% of the time or more. When I set up to go and schedule the Tuber Chat tweets for the day or for the weekend or whatever it's going to be, I get sucked into Twitter for 20 minutes, half an hour every time. And I say to myself, don't let yourself read this stuff, and I can't help it. They do a perfect job of showing you like what you want to see within the first 3 posts. And it's so quick. Maybe that was the magic of Twitter. Overall, is the fact that the posts are usually so short. I know they give us like more characters we can use now, but still the bulk of what you see is 1 sentence or 2 sentences, right? And that's enough to get a point across. And I'm telling you, they get me sucked in just as much as anybody else. Oh, the email newsfeed, that's interesting. Will Spear Productions. There's other tools you can use for the social networks, like to post your stuff, but it's been known for the longest time that they will always push out more things that are done natively on the platform. So I did a couple of tutorials a long time ago to show how I set out the YouTube videos on Instagram and Twitter, and those tutorials did not too badly on YouTube. Things have changed, so even I do it a little bit differently now, because Twitter itself allows you to schedule, where it didn't before. You had to use TweetDeck or something else. So the social networks want you to post natively. They will favor posts that are done natively. So if you use a tool like Hootsuite or Buffer or something else, your post typically does not have the chance to go out as far as if you posted it right on Twitter or right on Facebook. So when I do Instagram and Facebook now, I use the business suite that they give you from Meta, and I just hope that that's the best thing. And then with Twitter, I use Twitter itself, right? But again, I bark up this tree every day. Eventually, I hope to start doing these tutorial videos to show you how I do every single thing, because I found a magical system lately that's going to allow you to continuously put your videos out on the other social networks virtually on autopilot and continuously bring in traffic. So I'm looking forward to showing everybody that, but it's been working. If you look at my DJ Kevin Kaye Facebook page, and you look at my Twitter account, my personal one, you'll see what I'm talking about. Those posts are going out automatically. Pardon me for whatever I'm missing in the chat. Kristen Walton, my love, thank you for coming in. Yeah, Tony says even for their Twitter they saw something. Facebook doesn't get me as much, and the reason why is because I find posts that are days old. You know, a friend of mine that I've had since the beginning of my radio days is somebody who's still in radio to this day. He does a show every Sunday afternoon, and he always posts. He makes these really fun, amazing posts on Facebook to promote his radio show, and I get it 2 days later. Now, I know he's on every Sunday, so, you know, if I was able to catch it, I might, but it's just the fact that the post comes so late. Twitter's a little faster. I think that's why TikTok made that new now thing, is to try to say, like, this is now, you can't schedule something. Even with TikTok, you can schedule now. Oh, that might be propaganda, Don Ray B. That might be things meant, not so much, it's not that I want to say like government propaganda, it's just that if they show you something that's the opposite of what your interests are, it might be to get you charged up, right? Yeah, there is Wolf Spear Productions. So you schedule, there's lots of ways to schedule Instagram posts, but not on Instagram itself. I do it on a computer with Meta Business Suite. So I hook a page, the Tuber Chat page, to the Tuber Chat Instagram account, and then you're able to schedule. You could do one post for both at the same time, but I typically do each one separately. On Facebook, you get the opportunity to post to both a page and a group at the same time. So you'll notice that I do that. Yeah, Tony, I understand. Facebook has really changed. You could change things yourself, right? To make Facebook, like if you want to see the newest post, but that's not intuitive. Intuitive, my understanding, means that the program or the device that you're on should already understand how you want to do things based on how the human mind works. The human mind doesn't work where it goes to a social network and says, let me play with the settings. It says, let me see what this is about. You know, I want to see the posts, right? And it works on both sides. But I'm not saying I'm right. I'm not saying I'm right that that's it. I don't see Don Ray B's Facebook posts, so or Twitter or anything else, so I don't know. But I do know what it's like to see both. So Twitter the other day was showing me, because I've done so much Freedom Convoy stuff, I wouldn't blame anybody for thinking that I'm on the right side, you know, or right wing, or, you know, whatever. Hopefully not an extremist, but whatever. But I did notice a couple of weeks ago, last week or the week before, they had probably 3 leftist television stations posts right in front of me, and I'm sure that was for political charge. That was to get, like, oh, you're going to disagree with this, so I want to get you fired up right now. Because that's what's going to hook you in to read. Especially if you see something maybe that says, oh, that's not true, that can't be true. Right? And it's so funny because, yeah, there you go, Don Raby. That makes sense. And Professional Paranormal Research, good to see you in the house. Thank you, everybody, for hanging out. Oh, that makes sense, Tony. On Facebook, that happens. I wouldn't blame that. I saw some of that. Luckily, I didn't get any of that coming to me myself, but I did have a friend. There was a time where Facebook started adding those flags that you could put over your face. I think the first time they did it was in France. There was a terrorist attack, right? And so people were putting the France flag over their face. And I think that's how it started. and then somebody claimed to somebody else, like, why don't you put the flag on your profile picture? And that person's like, I'm not putting what other people want on my it's mine. And then they defriended them and this and that. That's just a story I heard, not one that I lived, but that's an example, right? But it's just an idea. That's why, one of the reasons why when you listen to the way I talk, especially, I know, most of you know me from the other channel, you hear the way that I talk and I put so much focus on the value of friendships, true friendships, right? Because I understand how valuable that is. Now, if we can't see the future, right? And it's wonderful if everybody loves each other today. There are a couple people who are going to hate each other 3 years from now, but we don't know who. We don't know, right? And I believe that if somebody is willing to write you off at all, then it was just a matter of time anyway. I'm not saying I'm right, but that's the way it seems to me, especially for the last long while. Social media is charging a lot of that. And I don't want to just put the blame on social media because, I'm an enthusiast. I use it all. But you just have to beware. You have to say, I know the room that I'm in. I understand what I'm doing right now and what can happen. No different than, cooking something on the stove. You know that the stove is hot. It's very dangerous. You can get hurt and worse by using a stove. But most of us are able to use it in the correct way 99% of the time, right? It's tough, but this is, the other thing too is, so we think, I believe that we think that this has increased, and it might have over the last many years, but it's actually always been there, right? So there's a movie that I really like, and I don't know if it's just nostalgia or whatever. So it's called The Secret of My Success. It's a Michael J. Fox movie. It's from like the mid 80s or something like that. And in the movie, there's a point where two people are disagreeing about something. And one of them says, there is no right or wrong. There's only opinion. And then the other one says, in some states, you can get arrested for talking like that. And if you think about the funny joke in that was in the mid 80s, and the audience watching that movie would relate and say, yeah, that's true. You have to watch what you say. So we feel like now, I got to watch what I say all the time, as if we didn't. But, for anybody that was lucky enough to have parents that cared enough to give you trouble when you did things that were wrong, that watching what you say is appropriate in certain circumstances, right? And there you go. See, I'll tell you this too. My sister, when we were much younger, I was on CompuServe, she was on AOL. Eventually I was on everything because I, either became obsessed or enthused with it all. And she was making friends online that she still has, as far as I understand, to this day, that would go and meet for coffee, and they meet up and they go to these other, things like Comic-Con trade shows and stuff like that. And I always thought that was, I don't know, unconventional is probably the safest word I could use. But now that I'm far more into a community online, then I see, we've met people on YouTube that have now met in real life and plan to continue those friendships too, right? So it's interesting. I didn't play Farmville. I was trying to get, remember Stock Explorer the other day, I was talking about video games again. I was trying to get Heyday working on my tablet. So I've got that Wowie tablet. Some of you have seen the review for that. It's my best performing video. And it's no better a video than anybody else's video. It's just the tablet was popular and whatever, it just happened to do well. But I tried to get Heyday working on it, and that's a game I used to play casually when I was working in film and had a very laid back job. And I wanted to go back and look at the economy, because you know, a lot of these games, for those of you who play mobile games, sometimes they give you lives, sometimes they give you coins, sometimes they give you diamonds, and you have to spend them in the stores, and you can upgrade your character and all this stuff. So I was refreshing my mind and wanting to go through a couple of these. I've been playing Candy Crush a couple times again lately, and thinking about other games, but I couldn't get Heyday to work. But I never did play Farmville. Tony, I think that some of that comes down to people's want to fight. Either attention, want to be heard, or it comes down to people like, they're already ready to fight. They were going to fight with whoever was going to be next. And then one person just steps away that they don't like. You know, the other day we had somebody come here. It wasn't a troll, but it was something similar, right? One of these things that's like, oh, I wish I wasn't born, and I had to explain to everybody that's not real. We see that kind of stuff all the time. And my thought, though, is at some point we'll have a troll come in here. When they do, I might look to the side and say, excuse me, somebody online doesn't like something I said. What should I do?
Stop bothering me.
Exactly. But thank you, everybody, for hanging out. I really do appreciate every moment everybody can spend. I've been on for about 50 minutes now, but you make it motivating. The whole reason I'm here today is literally because I was like, I will not miss the chance to stream more than the treadmill itself. The treadmill is just what I'm doing while I'm here, it seems, today. But I wanted to make sure I at least made it, because I couldn't do it yesterday, right? And I got to get this done. I have to walk an hour a day. I don't want to be at fault for my own demise later in life, right? You can only do as much as you can do. And Travel Fund 69, thanks for coming in. For those of you who don't already know, that is Jeff Lepard. That's one of the channels that I run. When I talk about the channels I run for somebody else, that's him, and he does a ton of live streaming over there. Obviously, when he streams, that's just him, but the videos and stuff I produce. But Sarah M., thank you for coming in. Besides, you run a risk, even like streaming like this. You know, most of you know that I tend to either sit on the fence or be, possibly the word would be, diplomatic in most of what I talk about. But the risk in here is that at some point I will become too comfortable and like real opinion will fly, and then somebody's not going to like something someday. Thank you, Rich Cat Ranch. Rich Cat Ranch been a great friend for a long time. Derek's Journey will be happy to see I made it to the treadmill again today. I can't tell how fast I'm going. I feel like I'm walking faster than I was the other day, or as fast, which is not fast. I'm not here to work out. I'm just here to walk on the thing. We'll get to that in a couple weeks. But so I'm doing 2 miles per hour right now. But I think that the treadmill at the other gym is set to kilometers. So I have to figure that out. Actually, I'll know at the end of today when my Apple thing, I forgot to start the workout, but my Apple thing will tell me how many steps I did, and then I'll know whether I'm in the right realm or not, but I'll adjust it next time.
I'm thinking of kg to pounds.
Yeah, all of the metric to imperial calculations, I wish I was a little bit better at sometimes, but I don't know them that well. I can't just pick them off. In Canada, we really do usually use metric most of the time. I think when we speak, we talk in terms of like feet or inches, but when it comes to almost everything else, even weight, we talk about pounds, right? But when it comes to like, if we're shipping things, we have to use metric. If we're driving, the signs are all metric. When you look in the stores, like here's an example. You know, I talk about vinyl records almost every day. It's my like one guilty pleasure in life. And records, vinyl records, for those of you who still have some, they fit in milk crates if they're American. because an American quart is bigger than a Canadian liter. I don't know by how much, but it matters. So when we try to put our records in the Canadian milk crates, it doesn't fit. Somebody apparently bought the mold a long time ago from Becker's and has them here for an unreasonable price. It's Our Abundant Life. Good to see you here. Derek's Journey, I think I mentioned. He does fitness on his channel. Yeah, Tony would have been connected with the Freedom Convoy stuff, so thank you for that. Yeah. If you want to see something really interesting, you can watch the subscriber numbers drop now on my channel here. I was close to, I think I actually got over 9,000. I can't remember, but it was much more than it is now. Even the other day, for those of you who were watching, if you happen to notice, before I started the first one of these streams, I had well over 8,500 subscribers on this channel. Now we're back down to 84 something because they're dropping all of the fake accounts and trolling and stuff like that that was made during the Freedom Convoy, or let's say news chasers that don't stay afterwards, that we couldn't have predicted, are either leaving or YouTube's purging. Because people over there, that was just a mess. The fake accounts and the trolling and the battling that would go on in the chats, that was that was an experience for sure. There you go, Will Spirit Productions. Well put. That's right, Kaz Crafts and More. You're sure right about that. I've been to a gym many times before. Now, for the last couple of years, I've been paying and not going. But at some point, I got to do something. So I don't know why the other day was finally the day. But all I'm doing right now is walking. Right? That's it. Literally, just to get the littlest bit of exercise. I can tell you this. By the third day of just walking very slowly on a treadmill at a reasonable pace, already some like chronic back pain is not there. So not that I'm like, I don't have back pain all the time. It doesn't like hinder a lot of things, but I get it sometimes. And it's usually from sitting too much, I believe. But just this little bit of this has helped. The idea is that after a few weeks, I'll be actually moving faster and accomplishing more. And then what will happen is like sleep will get better, more energy in the day. I'd love to be able to live on 7 hours of sleep instead of 8. I've always had to have 8 hours of sleep. Everything I try, I can't get over that. But at some point you have to just accept it, get what you need, and that's it. Oh, Travel Fund 69 is fasting right now. So apparently he's on morning number 5. So he's going to break the fast today. And the intention was to do 4 days. I've done 3 before. I didn't make 4, but I did 3. But nothing but water he's had. I think I had coffee when I was doing it, but he just went through 4 days. New Year's Eve obviously is going to bring party and celebration and everything else, and then he might try another one after. 1.6 kilometers to the mile. 0.6. Yeah, I don't even know what I'm doing now. I got this treadmill set on 2.0 and I'm pretty sure it's miles per hour, but I don't know what the one was at the other place. I'm breaking a sweat like crazy. I think it's the temperature in this place because the other place I was at felt colder. And then thank you, Derek's Journey. Yeah, hopefully. I expect to do this 6 days a week, so we'll see. It makes sense, Tony. I think that what happens is, like most other things, people might use the term the rich get richer. It's almost like that on YouTube, right? Like, so most of us see our home feed and what YouTube is going to show you. For people in the Tuber Chat community, you might see a lot of people that you recognize, like supporters, right? But for everybody else, if you have a second channel or something, you'll see they're just showing you Mr. Beast, PewDiePie, T-Series, and other things you might like, Brightside and cooking channels and things like this with millions of subscribers. They don't typically seem to push out smaller channels, if we want to call them that, but it gets better, it gets easier. Now, I believe that, and I've said this from the start, but I believe that any channel that hits 10,000, that's enough for it to grow itself afterwards. That's a great foundation. It seems to be the case. So, you know, in the case of Jeff Lepard, like most of you know that I started those channels for him, and so he's got the travel channel, which is Travel Fun 69. You see that thing exploded because of the Freedom Convoy. So I think he had 4,000 subscribers when he got there, and now has 58,000. It was over 60, but it dipped. And even mine, I could only be there some of the time. We've been on an hour, or I've been on this thing for an hour now, so I wanted to slow down here. I had 2,200 and went to whatever it was, close to 9,000 or whatever, and now we've dipped back below again because, like I said, they're purging. But Jeff has 20,000, or I forget what it is now, on his personal channel, Jeff Lepard, and then 2 more channels, a work channel and just a StreamYard drinking and talking channel that has almost 4,000 subscribers as well. But he was able to get that monetized within a couple of streams just because of the audience already built on the others, if that makes sense. Yeah, that's probably right, Tony. Oh, well, I'm upstairs. This is a 2-level gym. Pardon me. Let me stop this thing. Oh, here. Let me just. Can I get the screen to flip on this thing or not? Oh, why won't you do what I say? Here we go. Oh, there you go, 61. That's what I wanted you to see, just to make sure you see. I was on for, why do you have to hit this twice? See, this is an example. You can listen to me whine and complain for a second again. So I'm using Prism, and to flip the camera, you have to press it twice. So you press the flip button, and then it has a button that says rear. And then when you press it, you press the button again, and then it says front. But why do you have to do that? If I'm pressing the button the first time, I want to switch the camera. You don't need to ask me, are you sure? I'll tell you one more story, and then we'll get off here. But when I first became a DJ, I was still going to high school, and I wanted to print this list of music that was, I think it's 4,000 songs or something like that. And I was lucky, I had a computer and a printer and this and that, but the pages back then would be like 3 pages a hour. I forget how it was slow. Anyway, I would go to, that's ridiculous, it's not 3 pages an hour, I don't remember what it was. But, so I set it up to print, went to school knowing I had a gig that night, and by the time I got back, this list would be printed and I would have an easier time doing my gig at night. I got home from school 6 hours or 8 hours later, and the computer said, "Are you sure you want to print?" Oh no. So that didn't work out. But that's an example. Why do we have to tell these people how to run their companies? Just make the button flip the camera if it's a camera flipping button. And then, oh yeah, Android. We're having that talk about Android. I'm going to stick with this anyway. That's Prism's thing on their own. I'm sure it works on both the same way, but we'll see. Anyway, okay, thank you everybody for hanging out. I really do appreciate it because that's the reason that I made it here today. So you're helping me keep this up. We'll be back tomorrow. I might be at home, but we'll see. And I hope to keep this up 6 days a week or as often as possible. So thanks everyone. Again, I really do appreciate every moment, and we'll see you again soon.